Well, welcome everybody to the Legacy Lounge with Lady JB. I'm so happy to have you here wherever you are in the world. Welcome, hello, and blessings to you. Well, why are we here? Well, we're talking about legacy. That's right. The Legacy Lounge. Ta-da! In the upper corner. That's right. Legacy Lounge. We're sharing with you all the ways that we are going to be talking about legacy and what is legacy. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be unpacking and sharing the power of legacy. How do we build a legacy? How do we create a legacy? What is legacy? What does legacy mean? And we're bringing in guests on the show who, in my opinion, are legacy makers. They are creating legacy in their lives, and that means they're impacting others. It's not about a name on a plaque, on a board, on a side of a wall. It's not about them. It's not all about what they're doing and their accolades. Legacy makers are really people who care about others. They care about what people are doing. They care about the impact that they're making, and they care about the longevity of the planet and the generations to come. That's why I want to talk about legacy, because I love humanity. I love possibilities. I love legacy. And the idea is that each and every one of us has a power and the ability and the capabilities of improving the planet, improving humanity, and making the kind of world that we all want to live in, because each and every one of us are caring about our futures. We're not just here in the moment, doing whatever we can, running around, not caring about what's going to happen, and then we're gone, our life is over, and that it was just reduced down to a picture of us somewhere on a picture frame. We want to be leaving legacy so that people know that the work we did and the effort we made and the mission and the vision and the purpose of our lives is fortified in the lives of others. And so that's the big conversation we're going to be having today. So buckle up, stay tuned, be a part of it, lean back, get comfortable, and think about how you might want to be a legacy maker in your life. All right, well, let's meet our guest, our amazing guest for today. We have incredible Barbie Layton is an international speaker and host of a global TV show called You Are Amazing. She's a master's holder in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica and was a counselor for the documentary The Prison Project at the Cannes Film Festival in 2007. As a quantum intuitive life coach, she has helped many individuals revive their dream and become the VIP of their own lives. Barbie has also been a featured speaker in various events and received awards, including being ranked number 5 out of the 100 global inspirational women at the Hoinzer Queen's Yearbook and receiving a humanitarian award from the Hoinzer Group also. And Barbie will be a principal cast member on the upcoming Amazon Prime documentary about energy medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Barbie Layton to the Legacy Lounge.
Hello.
So happy to have you here. Delighted that you get to share. And you heard my intro. I love to talk about legacy. I love to talk about impact. I love to talk about the way people are making a difference in the world. Just to round out the conversation, how do you feel you're making a difference, and what legacy do you aspire to bring to humanity?
Well, that's great. It's nice to see you again. And ultimately, when I was prepping for this today, just to think about what I wanted to share with your audience, I was really thinking about what that means in the sense of where it's something that's lasting, whether or not it be cultural or something in civilization. And it just brought me back to one of my most favorite places in the world, which is Vienna, Austria, and Maria Theresa of the Habsburgs. That literally was the patron of Mozart. And she was also the person that, most people talk about Vienna as being one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and it has a beautiful opera ring, and it has all these different things of where these beautiful buildings that have literally, it was somebody's vision, and it was from the perspective of the kings of Versailles, where they wanted to recreate that in their own vision too. So having a legacy means that people can continue on to be able to see that. You just came back from India, you were where the Taj Mahal was, etc. Having those type of things. So it's the constructs of things that are sometimes in the physical reality, but when you have built something that literally has your imprint in it because it came from what I call a divine download, and you just put it out there into the universe, but then you watch your actual legacy being built in front of you because you collaborate and co-create with people who are willing to be able to bring that vision to life with you as well. So that's the part to me where I think legacy is so important. And so for myself, being able to be, a quantum healer and executive coach for people who serve thousands of people, it's such an honor, because that means that my work then trickles down like Niagara Falls, goes down into all those different little nooks and crannies with the ocean from that powerful electricity of the initial falls. And so for me, it's like all these different things of where, by being able to inspire people and then be also a presence healer, it allows that to be where when I'm not here any longer, I chose, this was the first generation of women that got to choose whether they wanted to be mothers or not. And I was one of those people that consciously decided I did not want to be a mother, but I've worked with children for many, many decades. And ultimately that's something of where you have other ways to be able to make an impact. You don't necessarily have to be the person that gives birth. And I give lots of honor to mothers, especially for Mother's Day this month being the 14th. But it's
Right.
my legacy will be the fact that a lot of those other people have had the opportunity to be able to experience what I was able to gift them in this lifetime. And then from there, it just continues on.
You shared so much, and thank you for doing that, because we only have a short period of time to be together, and we want to get as much information in as possible. And so there's a lot of things there. Some people may wonder, what is a quantum healer? Some people may be wondering what you're doing. I like the way you said that there are so many places in the world where we see somebody's vision has come to fruition. They had an idea, they envisioned something, a building, an invention, a movement. And over time, that has evolved because of their, and let's maybe qualify some of their qualities. Can you share some of the qualities, determination, perseverance, some of the unique qualities that you think leaders and legends and legacy makers have?
Well, I think a lot of times leaders oftentimes really don't care about other people's opinion about what their dream and mission and purpose is. And it's like I heard, a mutual friend of ours, Dr. Byron Nelson, I love the phrase that he says is that you have to be selfish to become selfless. And I just, that is such a beautiful quote. And I quote that often and give him credit for it. But it's that opportunity of where that person has, like Napoleon Hill talks about, that burning, white, hot desire that at any lengths that you're going to go to be able to make that happen. And of course, the desire is to be able to make that of where you're doing it for the sake of good, and that you're not necessarily, because throughout history, a lot of people have been, conquerors and people where they didn't do it very nicely. Right. But it's from that perspective that true leaders are going to be very, very honed in specifically on their own vision, but they will attract people along the way that wish to be able to bring it into the physical as opposed to just doing it on their own. So once you find those people that are willing to step into that, you have, someone has a blueprint for a house, and the next thing you know, you've got the contractors, and then you've got the people who are going to put the wood together, and they're going to pour the concrete, et cetera, et cetera. It becomes this amazing collaboration of people, and then you can look at a house that's built and say, oh my gosh, that was my design. That was like Frank Lloyd Wright. I love his architecture. I live in a building that was based on his architecture, and it's those kind of things of where they're very, very distinctive, but they put all those things together.
Yes, it's so true. Of course, every time I go to Barcelona, I'm so amazed at the architecture there because it was so outside the box. And so I love what you said about burning desire. Like most visionaries, all visionaries and legacy makers have a burning desire. They're not easily swayed. They're not easily dejected. They're not easily, buying into other people's opinion. They really have this white hot burning desire. And it's not that they negate people or they don't care. It's that they just know it's possible for them. And you and I have talked a lot about the power of possibilities. Can you say that, when it comes to building a legacy, it really is about optimism, possibilities, inner knowing? Is it an intuition? A lot of the work that you do comes from the divine, as you said. Do you feel that it's poured in from a unique source?
Well, I think that it's multi-pronged in the sense of where having the opportunity to be able to know that these things are what I call divine downloads. And you don't necessarily have to be woo-woo for that, but you have, let's say, someone like Prince and Michael Jackson, a lot of different songwriters. There were a lot of times where there were lawsuits on copyright infringement because that person got the same download of the same song. It was just who was able to publish it and turn it into a hit first. But it's still, if 1,000 people are dreaming of that exact same song, how does that happen? That they have the exact same notes and they have the exact same idea, but one person's going to sit on the couch and say, "Hey, I heard this cool song," and the other person's say, "Oh, I heard this cool song," and they're going to go get their composer and their agent and let's do it in the studio. And even I know for myself, there's been certain times of where I remember I was talking to somebody when the cell phones were out, and I said, somebody should have a stick that you hold up and you can take a picture of yourself. And then the person said, "Oh, I'll fund that for you if you want." And then 3 months later, I saw the selfie stick, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I totally thought of that like before. So it's kind of funny to see that in the sense of where it's like I didn't take the action, but the other person did. So it's that also in the sense of where it's that divine inspiration, but then you have to take the massive action that shows the universe that you're willing to follow through with whatever guidance that you get. Because it's something that I think a lot of, that whole dream a little dream of me. It's like I think a lot of people dream things, but then they put them to pen and paper. They write a story, they do a movie, they do art, they do a song, they do dance, they do whatever it is. But if you really tune into your intuition and you actually follow those hunches, and I'm going to talk about that in the mastermind, some of the things that I had that came to me just with, downloads 11 years ago. But I just found out that there's multiple companies internationally and universities that have been talking about this particular topic. I just happen to have a different flair on it. But imagine finding out that part of your life's work is something that other people have already been doing. And so now from there, you can go out there and you can find these people too and say, "Hey, this is what I'm teaching as well. I would love to team up with you." And then the next thing you know, we create this massive network of people that are all continuing to do the same thing because somebody started it in Canada, someone started it in Australia. Somebody did it in South Africa. Now we have the internet, so we have all these people that can connect with each other. But in a lot of ways, that's very miraculous that in the last 10 to 20 years, all of these things that we take for granted with technology and other things like that, they would have been unheard of before. So that's the part too where I think people can start to actually assimilate those things into their consciousness, and it's just a normal thing. Oh, someone has Instagram. I just joined in February, and it's like, it's still not really my world, but it's like I just joined Facebook in 2020. It's the kind of things of where you will find that when you have that white hot burning desire, I almost feel like you co-create with the universe of where it pulls you forward. And that's why I love working with clients. And I have like a really big announcement to tell you. I haven't said this on air before, but when I went and filmed the movie Beyond Physical Matter in Texas, Dr. Glenn Ryan, he's a world-renowned scientist, and he has literally, he's done measurements for energy healers for 25 years. And he does cheek swabs, where he takes cheek swab DNA before something and then after the fact. And so he was able to, I had a client that I did work on in that space. He did the cheek swab before and the cheek swab after. And my efficacy or my ability to be able to change the electromagnetic currency or the DNA of my client was 93.9%. I am a scientifically proven energy healer now, and it was something that, we caught it on film, and it's going to be a white paper, research paper as well. But he said that the highest he's ever measured in 25 years is 65%. So
wow.
It changes.
See, folks, we have legends. See, folks, we have legacy makers.
That is like to be able to have it of where, I know you and we've done sessions before and they've been very powerful, and it's the kind of stuff too of where it's like, but when you can say to somebody like, "Oh yeah, I feel a little lighter, I feel a little clearer, I feel a little this," but when you literally have the person that is your client who then actually starts to manifest magic into their lives and all these great opportunities, that's the stuff I live for. I love watching people just go out there and win and win and win, but knowing that I'm actually scientifically proven, that just happened in April of this year, so last month, so to be able to know I'm scientifically proven, it's like, that's a game changer because it's in that quantum physics field, which is technically settled science.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you say that because many people are looking at the new sciences and realizing like, well, what is the parameters and how do we measure it? And congratulations to you and bravo. We love announcing fun things on the show. That is so powerful. Thank you for being able to tell us that because again, there are people who are curious and wanting to know and shifting and moving into this realm. I really appreciate what you said earlier before the announcement. Thank you so much. In that we're all sort of stepping into this version. We have this collective thought. We are thinking things. And what you and I both know is that if an idea comes to you and you don't act on it, it's going to go to somebody else or it's going to go to somebody else because really ideas are life forces and they they come to you for a reason. They believe that you are the one that can help bring that forward, push that needle forward. I think that, again, when it comes to legacy, you're right. Many people can have the same idea, the selfie stick and different things like that. I can't think of for a moment. I have the same, like, I was like, I thought of that. I was talking about that just last year. I've already, actually, you know what it was? Etsy. Like 2 years before Etsy, I was like creating something called Women with Great Ideas, and it was exactly Etsy. And it was so funny because I was like, the universe wanted that to unfold. And so let's talk about, in our lives, in our viewers' lives, and the people who are listening, the things that they imagine, they dream of, they wish for, they pine for, how we can support them in helping those things unfold in their lives.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about my work is the fact that one of the number one things, as you just read about that, is that I help people reanimate their dreams. A lot of people after a certain age, they decide, oh, my dreams are dead. I ask clients a lot, like, well, what are your dreams? I don't know. Like they've somehow died and they didn't, they have to be reactivated. And so part of my homework for my clients a lot of times is to tell them, you need to spend 15 minutes a day daydreaming. I mean, Sir Isaac Newton, for example, it was during, I think it was a pandemic in the either 16 or 1700s in either Cambridge or Oxford. I'm not exactly sure, but they got sent home. And so he's literally just daydreaming under a tree and the apple hits him on the head. And then, next we have the, concept of gravity. So what I find is that in Apple and Google and a lot of these like tech companies have figured it out. They have skateboarding indoors. They have, foosball. They have snack machines. They have a lot of different things. There's lots of different places of where that creativity and that play needs to be put into effect. It's like, oh, we're all so serious doing all our serious and our serious stuff. It's that play. And I mean, you and I, when we first bonded, it's like we both have that electricity of where it's just like, it's that fun energy. And one of my favorite pictures of you is at the premiere in February, where you just like, I looked over and you pulled up your dress and you just did a little Irish flick and you were just, I mean, it was a perfect picture. I don't know if I ever sent it to you, but it's like,
no, send it to me.
Such a great moment because you were just such in your joy. Like, here I am being celebrated. Isn't this wonderful? And so that's the part too about it. It's also the support. The support and encouragement is so important because especially as entrepreneurs who just get so into like the grind and there's another email and another this and another that and appearance and whatever you're just needing to do. It's like we all need to know that even though we're like in these different spaces, like, huddled down, et cetera, that all the people that are around us that are co-collaborating and co-creating with us, that they've got our backs too. And that's like, we can feel that palpable energy in the sense of where it's like, oh yeah, I know they're doing this kind of stuff too. And because of that, we're going to have an opportunity to play in June, it's like having a big party of stuff. And it's like, because of those, it's like all this hard work gets to a point where it really is truly worth it. But an anecdote that I want your audience to hear too is that there's that movie about the guy who did the tightrope walking over the Twin Towers when they were existing in the 70s. I mean, I'm so afraid of heights, it was really hard for me to even watch the movie. But the incredible ability that he had and the fact that he did that was just, it will never happen ever again. But for someone to have a dream like that and to be able to pull it off, and then when he's teasing the police back and forth. But what he was talking about in that with tightrope walking is that the tightrope walkers that fall to their death, they fall to their death because of the last 3 steps. They get too confident that they have made it to the end, to the little platform, and most of them have a safety net. So, I mean, that's a smart thing too. But it's still those last 3 steps. And that's why I always tell people, do not give up before the miracle. Those are your last 3 steps where you're tired. You don't know if there's enough money. You don't know if there's this. You don't know if it's that. But ultimately, like you said, you got pulled into this like a tractor beam in Star Wars. You got pulled into this, and you're going to finish this because ultimately you finish what you start. And what's so great about that too is that what I find with legacy type of people who are powerful is that then once that thing is completed, then it's what is the next vision that is supposed to be manifested for me? What is the next thing that I birthed to? Right now, I mean, I'm going to be sharing that with your audience in the mastermind, but right now I have so many diverse things that I never in a million years ever thought I would be a part of, but I just staying open to whatever is there. But then again, it's like having a piece of paper and a pen next to your bed. If you wake up in the middle of the night at 3:00, jot it down, write it down, because you're not going to remember it in the morning. Those could be your $1 million ideas or $1 billion ideas. It's like, just be very, very attuned to that. And I mean, I have a whole entire course, which I just launched last week, which is all about being in that attunement. Because the more attunement we are with our environment, it's speaking to us at all times. And people who are very, very attuned, like, like an Elon Musk or, Steve Jobs or different people like that, they're dancing to the beat of their own drum. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant, but they're going to follow through with whatever they're planning on doing because it's in them. It's the alignment and the congruency of this is what I want to manifest out into the world. And other people then come along for the ride.
I have actually kind of a neat, and I love your analogy about the tightrope walker, because I was recently spent some time in Niagara Falls, and thank you to the mayor of Niagara Falls who treated us and told us this great story that they actually were breaking the Guinness Book of World Records with the tightrope walker walking from the Canadian Falls to the American Falls. Now, he practiced that with wind tunnels and wind machines and water and spray, like all the elements. He kept practicing it and practicing it and practicing it, and he did it every single time in practice. But the day of the actual walk, because it was televised in front of like 60 million people, the city insisted that he wear a tether rope. And he had never practiced with a tether rope. And which I found very interesting was he knew he would be able to do it. He believed in himself so strongly. He didn't want to practice with a tether rope. And at the last minute, they made him wear a tether rope. And he said that rope was the thing that almost made him fall, which almost made him fail, which almost made it not work out, because it was that idea that, kind of like you got to burn the boats because there's no turning back. He had that tether, so there was an opportunity. And so you've had an incredible life. You've done a lot of things. Is there something that was tethering you at one time in your life and you were able to break free of it to become the legend and leader that you are?
Well, thank you for that. Always funny to hear those special words where you get kind of elevated into a different space. Yeah, my life has been a lot about being a unicorn that most people didn't understand. And so as a result, just being highly advanced and gifted intellectually and other things of where, especially girls, there wasn't all the women's liberation that it is now. So a lot of times it was, piped down. We don't want to hear that from girls. And I think, so I experienced a lot of bullying, and I realized that I probably was, or am on the spectrum of, autism and that kind of Asperger's thing, because I just have fonts of knowledge that I just want to share with people, but not everybody wants to hear it. So it's just like, now that's my superpower. People pay me to talk to them, but it's still back in the day, it wasn't. So I guess I was practicing at that time. But when you experience extreme bullying, and I'm not talking about the microaggressions that kids talk about today, I'm talking about physical abuse, verbal assault. My bus ride to and from school was a nightmare for years and years, and nobody came to my rescue. So basically, and back then there weren't any anti-bullying laws. It was just boys will be boys, and you just have to deal with whatever you have to deal with. But what I found when I've really reflected back on that as part of my life is that it made me look out for other people in a different way, because I didn't want other people to experience that same thing. And so what I ended up doing is that I went to, I grew up Christian. I'm now what I consider just someone who practices universal source energy, but I grew up Christian, and I really loved going to Sunday school, and I really loved about the idea about, helping your neighbors and things like that. So I got involved in a lot of charity things. I did Los Niños project in Mexico at the border. We used to bring, food and dental, the USC dental truck would come down and give free dental work. It's like, we just did these amazing things, but the joy, like when you're mistreated by people, but then you go and you find the people that want to receive what you have to offer, it's a place where you can give your heart. Mm-hmm. And people receive your heart from that. So as a result, I've worked with Vietnamese refugees, Cambodian refugees, Holocaust survivors, the prison project I did, and that's that part of humanity. That's that part of really seeing the truth in human beings. And so I think when you're not treated well, it changes the way that you also have the ability to go outside of yourself. So I always heard, if you want more love, you need to give more love. So I feel like I'm a divine example of that. And so it's, again, being a role model in that sense of where, I'm a very generous person. That's just how I'm wired. And so having an opportunity to a place where I can give my heart out to the people that would like it, that there's nothing more beautiful to me than that.
You are a divine example. Thank you so much. And your vulnerability and your authenticity is so precious. And I know most definitely there's somebody watching who was listening to the first part of the show and like, she's got it all together and she's so amazing and look how successful she is. And then when you bring us this authentic, real, truly, ignite moment of this was happened to me, this was tearing me down, this was hurting my spirit. And yet at the same time, you said it, it's a superhero power that as an adult, where you are in your life, thank goodness. I say that about my own experience too. Thank goodness that was my experience, because now all of that I went through of not feeling included and not feeling heard and not feeling seen, all I want to do is make people like you be seen and be heard and belong. And so a lot of times our pain becomes our purpose. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's so, so beautiful. Well, the amazing thing is this show is only 30 minutes and we have just a fraction of a time to dip into the interesting, wonderful lives of our legends. But we do something really cool. We love to share about our guests. And of course, there's Barbie's link if you want to get to know her better. The neat thing is part of this show then transfers into a mastermind, a powerful private executive mastermind that we love to invite people to because we keep the conversation going. So my team's going to put up the link if you'd like to be part of this mastermind, where we now go to an hour of training, and Barbie's going to train our viewers, the people who come into the mastermind. We're excuse me, do some networking and also do some Q&A. You can go to the legacylounge.life, you can sign up, and you can get a backstage pass to our private mastermind. Now, Barbie, before we go, and I just want to say thank you, you're going to jet out of here and move over into our other room, and that's where we're going to have our mastermind group. But before we go, what would you love to leave with the viewers, the people that are really leaning in, they feel connected to your message, and they just want to know that little bit more to push them into creating some legacy in their own life?
So don't ever give up on your dreams. If you forgot what they are or what they were, step into that again. The person you wanted to be when you were 8 years old or 9 years old is still inside of you, and honoring that part of you too. That's the truth of who you are. So stepping into that, whether you want to start art or music or whatever you want to do, you're never too old to start. And I'm a perfect living example of that as well. So don't ever give up on your dreams.
I love it. And I just want to say publicly, I love Barbie Layton. She has been an incredible friend, an absolute dream in my life. She has propelled me and uplifted me in so many ways. She is one of those people you lock arms with, folks, and that's part of building a legacy. You want to lock arms with people that are powerful and supportive to you. And Barbie, thanks so much for being here. I'll see you over in our private mastermind. Thank you so much. Well, if you folks want to know more about what we're doing in the Legacy Lounge, please go to our website and find out what we're up to. We're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we are bringing you legacy leaders making a big impact in your lives and helping you decide that you want to do something different. Now, if you want to know more about me, just check out my link. And of course, we'd love to hear from you. So let us know how you are creating legacy in the lives of others. All right, blessings. We'll see you next week.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.